Yes, ma'am.
28.
Start because this is one five, and it will take at least 50 minutes. So you start now.
Development.
Yes, ma'am. Start now.
Okay. Once again, good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome. So, me, Veena Kumari from Kashidi High School, I welcome you all to my today's training session. As you know, habitually, we the teachers, we have the gesture of putting questions okay, before our children. So, for today's session, I'd like to put one simple question for everyone. How can you say that our profession is a noble one? Why it is so called? Please use chat box to answer. I repeat my question. How is our profession considered as a noble one? Why do we call the teacher's profession as a noble one? Please use chat box. Okay. So just because we all deal with the children, this is a common thing. We all know this because we all deal with children. And so the children are not a product. And in case we call them as a product, we are dealing with a live product. The product which has life, the product which thinks. It is a living one. So that's why it's a different than the other occupations under the sun. So that's why you find today me with the topic addressing socio-emotional needs of the children. In my next slide, you'll find a number of words. And in these words jungle, you will find two important words, that's social and emotional. They are the symbols of my today's training topic, socio, that means social, and emotional, learning of the child. Very rarely we find such a picture. Actually, I'm using this gesture. Why? Because when we were small, the elders they used to say that kindly just listen to your head, listen to your brain, and not your heart. Gone are the days, but then our heart. Today, more and more focus is given to our heart only. Okay, whatever we feel, that has more importance. Why? Because that gives us a different entity. Okay, so we are for a better result giving more importance to heart, the heart which has emotions, the heart which thinks. Again, to the next topic. Children, friends, these are the five components of social emotional skills. The first becomes self awareness. We are talking about self. Self means you are talking about your own. So when we are talking about the children here, the children should be self aware what they are, how they are, and all. So the five components related: self awareness, self management, responsible decision making, social awareness, and relationship skills. These competencies, they focus on the abilities of the child. They focus on the socio-emotional learning. First, self-awareness. Let us focus on. Self-awareness is the ability to consider and understand the own emotions, thoughts, values, and experiences, and how these can influence the actions of the children in our class. Improving the self-awareness allow the children to effectively
Slide is not
identify
visible.
individual. Yes, Radha ma'am.
Slide is not visible.
Just a
Visible,
second.
visible.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now this self-awareness gives us a picture where we can more effectively identify our own individual strength. Now here our means we are talking about the children. We have to make them compare their strength and their weaknesses together so that they can potentially improve their decision making skills and lead to self improvement. Now, the second one, self-management. The self-management, it focuses on individuals' ability to regulate and control their emotions. See, in the first aspect, the child has identified that yes, I am also having a personality. Now he has to identify the emotions which he is having. Okay, now not just identify, he has to now ability to regulate and control the emotions, the thoughts, and the behavior. First of all, we should remember that the child is in a society. He is with many others like him or her. So he has to learn, he has to improve into areas like stress management. Now, today's world, we find it's a very, very important aspect that needs to be tackled. That's stress management, organizational skills, and ability to set goals. We say that today's child is the future of tomorrow. So we have to see him setting goals, that too in the proper direction. Next one, we will talk about it is responsible decision making. Now, it is the ability required to make positive and constructive choices. Okay, positive and constructive. Why positive and why constructive? Why? Because we don't know which way the world will lead. But then again, we have to look into only the positive aspects. Right? I will be showing a next slide later. So here, because the society deals with many factors like personal and academic goals, ethical standards, safety concerns, and social norms. Now, it requires to consider the consequences of different potential actions. They have to understand their strengths, their own limitations, and to know when to ask for more help, when to ask for more help when needed in certain important decisions. Means he has to take his own lead role. He has to take his own He has to decide. He has to make decision. But at the same time, he has to understand that yes, there is somebody that in case he has any point, any confusion, there are someone whom he can uh, have faith that he can go to that person for suggestions. Okay. Next is social awareness. Now this is the person has to aware about the society. Okay, because he is in the society, he has to look into and improve constantly. So now this competency is about improving skills like your ability to empathize with others. Very important. When you give pain to other person, what does the other person feel? You should also feel the same thing whether you are not in that position or you are not. It is something like you are putting into the other shoes, you are putting your legs into the other person's shoes so that you can understand the problem, the empathy. Okay, you have to look after you have to take care of the perspective of those in different situations, your awareness of others, diverse individuals and groups, and your ability to make sure you are treating others fairly. According to me, this is the most important characteristic feature of SEL, because what actually happens that the person is only aware of his own, that whether he is hurt or whether he is whatever, it is something he has to understand what the other person might be feeling because of his behavior. Take the case of bullying. We find the person who bullies is very happy, but he has to be fed something like that he can understand the problems that whom he is bullying. How would the other person feel? Okay, they say ragging, what is the other person's feeling? So in that way, with regards to equity and diversity, greater social awareness can assist the ability to understand the perspective and empathize with other individuals, particularly surrounding characteristics like gender, race, religion, age, culture, class, and financial circumstances, and will ensure that the ability to make decisions in social settings like school takes diversity into account. This is my favorite one. Me being a social studies teacher, we have to look after this aspect. Okay, now the fifth one, relationship skills. The relationship skills competency concerns your ability to make positive connections. See, there are different types of relationships, but then those with the personal and positive relationships are always the better. So you have to try to bind them with the positive ones, as well as the ability to take their emotions into account in different situations and social interactions in order to establish and maintain healthy, mutually rewarding relationships. See, we have to enhance because the child is living in society. He has to make certain relationships. He has here relationships means something like friends, family, all. Actually, he has learned just now. If I talk of a small children, they have started making relationship outside the family, and then these collaborative works will define a future one. Okay. Now, very importantly, skills like listening well, communicating effectively, understanding appropriate and inappropriate social behavior. Now, the child has to understand that whether my behavior was appropriate or not appropriate, whether I was correct or not correct. Now, he has to introspect, he has to think about this. Your ability to compromise. See, something every time everything will go in my favor. That's not done always. So he has to accept, he has to compromise, and he has to consider the emotions, thoughts, and values of others, and your ability to take the perspective and empathize with others. As well as in personal situations with family and friends, relationship skills are important at school. Now here different strata which we are talking about. There are peers, teachers, and in professional areas with colleagues and bosses. If you have the ability to make positive relationships with those you learn and work with, you are contributing to a more positive school or work environment. So if these five aspects are properly nurtured and taken care of, you will be finding the result here. Now this is just you are seeing there a bolder one, future self as the base. Now here, whatever we do, whatever we teach the children, it's all because we want them to learn for future. We are going to design a person in future. Whatever we teach the child, emotionally, socially, this will affect his lifelong. This will affect his future. So here are certain strengths, some things which some skills which the child learns in case he has got this SEL. First one gains what he will get in benefit as. First one is emotional regulation. He can control his regulations. Okay. Classroom engagement. The teacher will be finding that the classroom is more and more engagement. Resilience. The child is offering resilience. Self-confidence, more confident than before. And academic achievement. Like once the child is healthy, happy, you find that he is into the line of progress and he is achieving. In school, we find that we associate that with as academic achievement. Coming to the things that are going down, that is negative ones, that is reduced. First is conduct problems. Now here the child will learn to conduct what? Problems, solution. He will not create a problem, he will solve the problem. Okay. Now, emotional distress, you will find them getting lower and lower, like lesser and lesser. And then we have negative thinking. This also decreased into a way. Now, here this is a video, I think. Please watch a video. What is social emotional development in children?
What is social emotional development in children? Social emotional development is the evolution of a child's ability to react to and interact with their social environment. A child's social emotional development from birth to age 3 is incredibly important, as it directly impacts their long-term brain structure and resulting behavioral patterns through adulthood. The following are the different components that contribute to a child's social and emotional development. Social interaction. The connections children form with others, including caregivers, family, and peers. A young child's social skills, showing their ability to take turns, play with others, and follow simple instructions. Emotional awareness. A child's ability to recognize and understand their own feelings, as well as those of others. For example, a young child might show concern for a crying friend. Self-regulation. How well a child manages their feelings and behaviors. Being able to calm down when experiencing big emotions. anxiety, anger, excitement, etc., and focusing on difficult tasks are examples of self-regulation. The Birth to Three program strives to help children grow and learn to their fullest potential. If you're concerned about your child's social emotional development, Milwaukee County's Birth to Three program can help.
Now see, we all here teachers, we have just now seen this video and how important it is for the child in the early stages to learn these social emotional skills. Now, we have to accept the fact that these skills in children, it is in, you can say, neonatal, very, very baby stage, infant stage, and they need to be focused more. You have to take care of the feelings, you have to take care of the behavior. Now, at home, the families, they do their part. But we, the teachers, we too have a big, big role to be played in this. Actually, it is many times we teachers, we do knowingly or unknowingly. But then these connections, they are for the children. Now here these connections will teach the children how they are going to grow up in the later stages. But then we have to provide the base. Now here, these are certain aspects which will teach us, the teachers, how we are going to build relationship with the kids. Here in this, we are not teaching the children anything. We are making ourselves fit into their own shoes. Taking care of the first one, that is, talk to them about non-school related subjects. Some of us are so engrossed in our lessons that we hardly talk extra with the children. But then to go closer to the children, we have to talk to the children about their interest. You have to talk about something that is not in the textbook. You have to talk about the goal of the child. You can talk about the weather. You can talk about the many news that is maybe current ones. Okay, so it's very important for the teacher to talk with the children. Let them teach you about their interest. No, we are not teaching. We are letting them teach. We are asking their own interest. They means the children will teach us. The children will speak about their own interest. Whatever, like it is right or wrong, it depends upon that particular child. But then we have to listen to that. And then we have to encourage if we see something positive or creative. And then if we see that if it is negative, we can stop them. Remember things about their lives. Anytime have you wondered that suddenly if somebody wishes you, oh, happy birthday, commenting any personal comments on anyone? Fourth one, share about your own life. See, in our life, something plus, some negative, some positive, something have happened. Many things have happened in our life. Okay. We can share something with our own experience, something which has happened in our life, but that we can, something just as anecdote, we can share with them. Okay, something which teaches them, anything it can be, maybe just an interest, just to arouse interest into your own class. Engage in activities with them. Very important. Now, whether we are in the classroom or we are having a great program like annual day, maybe sports day, we have to engage in activities, not in big, even in the classroom activities, the simple activities with the child do. You have to engage with them so that the child can understand that yes, the teacher is closer to us. They will feel that yes, she is one. Tell hilarious and even embarrassing stories. You can share your anecdotes, you're free. Many of us do also, knowingly or unknowingly. Share inspirational stories from your life. Very important. Sometimes we know that we have taught too much today and the children are, getting bored. We can share something that gets created. Now here, why these all things? You are getting closer to the children. Now, why closer? Your children, you are getting, friends, you are getting closer to the children's heart. You are getting closer. The children will listen to you. The children will respect you. They will be emotionally attached to you. Simply sometimes do crazy things, weird. Why? Just to prove that you are one among them. Okay, that emotional attachments, it will bring good result. Use their interests in your lessons and activities. Their interest. Suppose a child is good in drawing and you are drawing about some motorcycle on the board. You can call that child, make the child, come on, draw it. You are good in drawing, and see the child will so happily draw. And just try to get the feeling of the child, how happy he would be. And the last one, many of us avoid to do that. Many of us, like we are the boss, we cannot, but here you have to apologize when you mess up. Actually, here it is not the teacher and student relationship here when we apologize. Actually, we are teaching the children that you should apologize when you are wrong. It is not our story now. Now it is their story. What we are doing, we want them to do. So these are the things in which we build relationship with kids, the kids in our classroom. So here are few checklists. You can say these are the tips, activities which we the teachers can engage. Now these are the defined activities. I have brought a few for you. Just we can go through this. Start the day with a check-in. Any of us wondered why every time when we come into the classroom, we say good morning, good afternoon. What difference does it make? Does it make any difference? Any answers in the chat box? Okay, now it's very important to make the child interact with you. When he interacts, he develops a personal connection. So make it a goal every day, a regular goal, everyday practice with a personal connection. It is not time consuming. You need not have an elaborate procedure every time. You can just greet them. It could be as simple as giving a warm greeting to welcome each person as they arrive in the morning or any day, whether the classes are online or offline. But this will create, something like the window is open and the child is ready to take it. So this is the first activity. Whenever we begin, any day, anytime, any class, anywhere. Now, this can be done even for elder people also. Coming to classroom activities, do lots of partner activities. Give kids lots of opportunities to work with partners. Working with a partner helps kids learn to cooperate and builds community in our classroom. Alternate between strategically assigning partnerships and allowing kids to make their own choices. Now, here we do it, right? What we do is when two or three people are sitting together, we give them some activities, and then what we find is these three people, they are using their own brain on any particular issues, right? But now here I'm with some activities which is something different from that. The first one being talk to each other. Simply give them few minutes, just few minutes. Talk to each other. Let them talk whatever they can talk. But then that talk should be about themselves only and not others. Second is listen to each other. What the first person is telling, what the first person is speaking, you are there to listen. The child will develop this listening habit. Then we have compliment each other. Few months back or few years back, we have developed this habit. We have started complimenting each other. Actually, we usually do. We compliment each other. No, like you are looking beautiful or you are so good, whatever it can be, you have done so well. This generates interest into the other persons and ask each other questions. Now, because when children are asking, the questions will be of their own level, and the other child, the partners, search for that answers. So we are making the child open up. His heart is opening, his emotions, he is sharing. And you will find that they are getting closer. That is what we want. Now, not only this pair, now these pair can be changed. Sometimes we make na sitting, we make one hardworking student sit with a person who is lazy or a person who is weak in academics is made sit with a person who is more industrious. So in that way, this has to be a regular practice in the classroom. Next is teach kids how to work in a group. Being able to work in a group setting is an important life skill. Students will learn how to negotiate with others, develop leadership skills, and figure out their own strengths so they can best contribute to the group. Now again, I have said already that many of these we know, we knowingly, unknowingly we do it. And this is the one that is working in groups. Now this is a very, very important life skills. What the students learn here is, they learn to negotiate, they argue. Sometimes you'll find that they're having fighting. But then there only we find that they are developing leadership skills. They figure out their own strength, in which field they are good, how they can contribute. We have seen many times if you give some group activities and the child who is good in speaking, the other children, they make her, no, you say you speak well, so you only take the charge of speaking there. We will do the writing part. Or the person who assigns the job. What we find that the job is assigned is also because the child is good or the child can improve in that particular field. So here that group activity, the child is learning to live in group, work in group and learn in group. Now this we all are yet to get. Look for a trusted SEL curriculum. Now this curriculum helps to be systematic when it comes to teaching social-emotional skills, and a research-backed curriculum can help you cover the skills your students need the most. Actually, these skills are to be learnt graded. They can be class-wise or age-wise. They can be according to the divisions the children are having. So what are the needs of the child? What the child wants and what the child can learn. These all things are to be provided to the child, and still these curriculums are there where it is to be acquired into our own set timetable. Now, while teaching, many of us do, and what we do is we design to teach topics such as communication, teamwork, and self-regulation in just a few minutes a day, and in combination with the academic subjects we are already teaching. Now, it does not read any extra period. It does not require any extra timetable. It does not require any extra book. How we can teach the children? We can teach them while we are in the classroom. A few minutes, maybe some important activities, maybe some important agenda for that should be talked about with the children. Now, very important again, practice lots of role playing. Sometimes you have to put yourself in someone else's shoes to truly understand a situation. Taking time to role play tricky or troubling situations that show up in your classroom helps kids develop empathy and understand other people's feelings. For example, we are talking here is bullying. Empathy, the big word, the very, very important word, the word which changes the situation. You have to understand that if the behavior is rough, what would be the feeling of other person? So you have to feel that. You have to keep yourself into the position of some other person, and you have to understand that how humiliating it is or how awkward it would be, and then you have to avoid. Maybe slowly, and the children will learn these things. Empathy, the most important one, according to me. Now, here we have to, change. Now, this is change. Build their social emotional vocabulary. In our classroom, we say, what do we say? We say, oh, you cannot do this. This will not happen. Now, here, if you see properly, dear teachers, here it is written, how can I improve? Now, this word I should use. I means the children. These are to be taught to the children. These words should be into the vocabulary of the children. How can I improve? Instead of, I'm no good at this. He can use, let me try a different way. Instead of using the word, I give up. He can use the word, mistakes are part of learning. Instead of using the word, I failed. Have I done my best work? Instead of, I'm all done. Learning takes time. You have to pat your head instead of using the word, this is too hard. How can we learn from one another? Instead of, he, she is smarter than me. I like a challenge. Use this word instead of, I'll stick with what I know. My efforts and attitudes are everything. No. Avoid the words like, my abilities determine everything. So here, this is the vocabulary which we find that the children, if they use these words, they will be getting a positive development into their character, into their personality, and into our own classroom. Very important again. This we have discussed also. Allow for talk time. Dear teachers, please give 1 minute, 2 minutes to talk. Give them opportunities to talk. Now, what type of talk? Sometimes we design what type of talk should be there among them, among the children. But sometimes let it be unstructured. Let them do whatever, let them talk whatever they are. Actually, this is very, very important because when they share the ideas of one another and when they hear to the problems of one another, this little give and take help the children in understanding. It boosts their confidence. It's very important because in the long run, they have to listen or to speak or to understand the problem of others. Again, the same reason because we all are in a society and we have to take care of each other. Teach kids how to manage conflict with peer mediation. So, what happens whenever two friends fight? The third one brings him to the teacher. Come on. And the teacher will punish or the thing is done. But no, here we have to teach them that peer mediation means you have to solve the conflict. The, when it is solved among the peer, the conflict is then and there that dies. But then suppose it is brought to the principal's notice, to the teacher's notice, then what happens? It will take a bigger issue. So, what are the rules? What are the things we have to teach the children? Some rules, that is, identify the problem. It might be anything. We come across many these type of issues, which sometimes take into a bigger ones. So, how to stop them? First one is let the fight be there, but then it should be a fair fighting. Fair means it is justified. How? First, identify the problem. Focus on the problem. Attack the problem, not the person. Means suppose if the child has done some wrong, then don't punish the child. Why he has done wrong? Or what conditions made him wrong? So the children have to think all these things. Listen with an open mind. The children have to lend ears to the partner, to the friends. They have to understand why he or she was wrong at this particular platform. Treat a person's feelings with respect. If the children learn this emotional development will be on a very large scale. Take responsibility for your actions. Now, once it is that proof, okay, my action was wrong, then you have to either feel sorry or you have to accept that it was your mistake. So, at the end, on any big issue, what the important is getting to win-win situation. Whether the person who is a sufferer or the person who is the cause of sufferer, what you will find that both of them are on a platform, and that is win-win, and the problem is solved there. Help students manage feelings and emotions. Creating a caring classroom environment requires a little coaching. You have to make a classroom. What type of classroom? A caring classroom. One way to start is to teach students to recognize feelings and emotions and learn to manage their moods. We all think, right? Sometimes what we think, it's all gone. But sometimes what happens, what we think, actually these are the bigger feelings and they need to be managed. You have to manage your emotions. They have to manage their feelings. Because feelings, you cannot control your feelings, but at the same time, every place is not you have for you to open up. So you have to manage your feelings, manage your emotions. And then only you can survive in the society. So we have to develop the skill in children. Now, very important even for the adults also. Teach your kids about zones of regulation. Sometimes big feelings are hard to manage. They burst up. But then we should help kids recognize powerful emotions and learn strategies for dealing with them. Now we have to assist. It's not that every time whatever the child thinks and they can solve all the problems, but then you have to teach the boundary line. Like there has to be an end of everything. So you have to create the regulation. You have to complete, you have to show that yes, no, this is the limit. You have to show the limit that you are supposed to end here. So teach them about the zones of regulation so they can come up for self-regulation. Okay. And so that's all for today's session. That's all for today's session. Thank you everyone for patiently hearing.
Thank you, Veena teacher. Very nice session is this.
Thank you, Sharda ma'am. Wow, nice gesture. Nine.